Welcome back. Junkies on 106.7 The Fan live on CSN. Join us right now in studio from the Washington Post, national NBA writers Tim Bontemps. What's up, Tim? Clap him up.
Appreciate that, fellas. What's going on?
What's up, man? How was that game last night?
You know what? It was a heck of a lot more interesting than I expected for a lot of reasons I didn't expect. So it was pretty interesting.
Man, what a freak accident. I was talking about this earlier. I asked the boys. I thought that KD had some sort of an injury last year when he came here, too, when he was playing with the Thunder.
He did. He hurt his hamstring last year.
That's right. It was the hamstring. And he only played like a quarter, maybe a half.
Yeah, I think he got hurt right at the end of the first half.
Yeah. So he hadn't had much luck with the injuries here in Washington the last couple of years. But the Wiz got a big win either way.
That's the biggest
Cakes
story.
gets pissed because I'm kind of downplaying the win, but
just gets glazed
Why?
over.
Because
all the
KD wasn't there, really?
Golden State.
Let's be honest. If KD's there,
but
it's
Golden
a totally
State
different
didn't
game.
care. They're just mailing it in. Steph Curry just had a bad night. That's the whole narrative. It seems like.
No,
after the Wiz
I
win.
don't think that they didn't care and they don't want to lose. But after he goes down, there's something psychological about your team that changes.
Yeah, I mean, they still have 3 Hall of Famers, though. That's a big win for the Wizards.
It is a big win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, you lose that game to the Sixers on Saturday, or Friday, whichever day it was. That one really hurt because the Utah Jazz loss you can kind of let slide. That's a good team, even though the Wizards really good at home. But to get that win last night, now they go to Toronto. Well, hopefully they can get either tonight or Friday. But this stretch they're coming into in March is brutal. I mean, they got 18 games, they got 12 on the road. 6 of those are second halves of back-to-backs. Played 9 playoff teams. Like if they can survive March and still be around 500 in the month, they're going to be in really good shape.
Man, these next 2 games against Toronto are big because if you can separate yourself by a couple games, with 20 to play.
Yeah, it would help a lot.
Especially with Lowry
out.
Yeah,
tonight's going to be tough, though. Those guys were gassed last night.
This kind of reinvention of the roster, where does this put Ernie Grunfeld in terms of competency level? Because I know fans have completely lost faith, but I think you got to give the guy credit. I mean, maybe he dug a huge hole for him, obviously, several times.
Right.
But he dug him out of him, and he's done a hell of a job.
I mean, look, I know the fans here have gotten wound up about that, and every summer, the last 2 summers since I got here have been a lot of, how the heck can Ernie still have his job? But you look at the job him and Tommy Shepard, their VP of basketball ops, have done. Like, they went out last summer, and even though some of the signs didn't have, they didn't work out, this team they've built, they're built on 3 guys they drafted in John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter. They got Marcin Gortat in a nice trade. They got Markieff Morris in a nice trade. They drafted Kelly Oubre, who looks pretty good. And then, like you said, this week at the trade deadline, they went out and got Bogdanovich, who I think is really going to help them. And now they're going to get Brandon Jennings off the bench. They completely remade their bench in a month. They got Yamahimi finally healthy. He should help them off the bench, too. So they went from having a team that was like 6.5 deep a month ago to having a team that's legitimately 9 or 10 deep now. And that's going to really help them, I think, in the playoffs.
Now, you follow the NBA very, very closely, so you know all this stuff. And I know that Scotty Brooks is a well-respected coach. But what he's been able to do with this team, frankly, has raised his stature sort of in my mind. Has it around the league, or did you expect this?
I think he's just getting proper credit now. Like, I always
But is he also lucky? Because I heard an interview with Randy Whitman recently.
Yeah.
And Whitman,
is Randy bitter?
Well, Whitman made a point. I think the question was something like, what's the biggest difference between last year with you and Coach Brooks? He's like, well, Wall and Beal are healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. But I also think that if you look at the way those guys are playing, particularly Otto, like I look at Otto Porter, and he's kind of, to me, kind of what sums up how Scott impacts the team. You go back and look at what Scott did in Oklahoma City, and the biggest thing he did was he empowered those young guys. Like, if you guys remember, when Russell Westbrook came in the league, people were like, this guy can't be a point guard. And that was a huge thing. It was like, Russell Westbrook's a shooting guard. Or like, why does he have the ball in his hands all the time? And Scott Brooks just kept saying, this guy's my point guard. He's going to be a great player. We're going to give him the ball. He's going to be our guy. And he empowered Russell, and you look at what's happened. And I think, you look at Otto, the first couple of years he was here, he was, there was a lot of talk about how is this guy the 3rd pick? This guy's a bust.
I was one of those guys.
Well, no, a lot of people
We
were.
also had Paul Pierce in front of him.
Right, no, but there were a lot of people who were hard on him. And I think you look this year, he's had a huge breakout season. I think in part a lot of that is because Scott Brooks has really has kind of empowered him to be better and said, look, like you're my guy. You're a starting small forward. Go out and play like it. And I think, you look at what he did in Oklahoma City. A lot of times people like to say that, these teams win if the team doesn't win a championship, it's the coach's fault. Like, in the NBA, you need to have good coaching and good players. Like, you can't, you have a good coach with no talent, you're not going to win. You have if you have good talent with no coaching, you're not going to win. I mean, so you need to have both. And I think Scott, I'm glad to see Scott's getting credit now because I always thought he didn't get nearly enough for the job he did in Oklahoma City.